a roller coaster.
Hello, I am back on the Fairytale route again. After spending a couple of days over Christmas with my family at my parents' home and my brother's home, I got back on route, but I actually was stuck on this parking lot for 2 days because of snow and ice, and I don't want to drive in snow and ice. I do have M&S tires, but that's just not good enough, and I just don't want to jinx it. I found a parking place that offers free parking for campers and free electricity, which, I mean, that's like, it doesn't get more perfect than that. So you just go to the city hall and they're asking for a donation in exchange. That's awesome. It's just very, very awesome. The only thing missing here was a public toilet, but I got to test out my Biviloo for the first time, and it worked. It doesn't work as well as I hoped it would. You do have to get rid of the bag right away. It just, yeah, you're not keeping that in your van and hoping that it doesn't stink. But for an emergency, and that's what it's for, it's perfect. We're hitting the road again since today. All the snow is gone, almost all. I can drive again on these roads. So there have been some other people camping right next to me. Haven't talked to them, haven't seen them. We did skip a little bit of the Red Riding Hood area, so I could be home for Christmas. Potentially we will go back there at a later stage when the road is closer again to that area. We are today going to delve into Snow White country. So we're at the end of Red Riding Hood country and the beginning of Snow White. Again. The reading vlog part of this vlog has not been the best so far. So let me fill you in. I did read Queen of Nothing. I don't know if I mentioned it while I was in Marburg, and I really enjoyed it, but I wasn't as invested in the characters, so no emotions whatsoever. I did read From Twinkle with Love, which is again something, it's a cute little romancy love story, but contrary to The Upside of Falling, which I really enjoyed as like a little filler something, and I was in this rare romancy mood. From Twinkle with Love just doesn't do it. While I was parked, I started Like a River Glorious, which is the second in a series, a fantasy that plays in 1849 USA. We're following a young woman who is trying to find her luck in the gold rush. In the first book, we followed her along the Oregon Trail. I am a sucker for this like gold rush, and not like the Western cowboy Indian kind of spiel, but the seeking luck and going on a treacherous journey and grinding to get make your own luck. I don't know. It just, I'm drawn to that. I'm drawn to Civil War, more of like personal stories, not war stories. And so this is perfect. It has a fantasy element because the main character can sense gold, which is kind of convenient during the gold rush, right? And the second book just starts as great as the first book ended. I enjoy following the characters. I am forming a close bond with them immediately, and it's just this cozy, fun thing in between. Now, we have 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. We have 4 days left in December, and I want to do my best to finish 9 more books. But with that, I would hit the magic number of 200 books in 2021, and I kind of want to try and get there. So what I will do is potentially go away from on the 31st, depending on how much more I have, I might move away from my TBR and put in a few more like really short ones or graphic novels or whatever to hit that magic number, because I'm all about the number today or these last few days. I wasn't up until now, but I'm so close to 200, and it feels like I'm always really close to a new milestone goal, and I really want to hit that. I'm going to continue listening to Like a River Glorious while driving to the Fairytale hiking trail in Rauschenberg.
She's a roller coaster. Oh, she's a flame. I'm burning up inside, but I can feel no pain. I won't try to stop her. She can't be tamed. I'm so in love with her. I fall and try again. Get up and try again. Get up and try again.
So this little fairy tale forest, woods, whatever, has a lot of different stations, and they all show fairy tales from this part of Germany. It's like small, unknown, cute fairy tales. I just read the first one. They are posted throughout this. It's like a 1 hour walk, and throughout it you have little signs like this telling you a little story. What I'm not 100% sure of is this. It does say Fairytale hiking trail club that is looking after this and everything, but there's no information or signage what this is supposed to be, or like what this is supposed to be referencing. So I'm a little bit lost. The ground is really slippery, so let's see if I can actually make it 3 kilometers without falling.
Moments pass, make this one count. Untied, you're so good at dragging yourself down. Why? Well, there ain't much time left to figure things out. Deep underneath all the laser, your doubts. There's a heart gone out of rhythm in despair. Held underwater, fine for air. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the colors around. You got the white knuckles holding on it tight, keeping your fears bottled up inside.
We officially arrived in Snow White country, and we are in the place in the village that claims that Snow White originated here. This is a mine that you can go and visit with your kids. There are opening hours. It's open from April to October. They have 3 tours every afternoon, so that might be a fun thing to do with kids. I'm not mad that this isn't open. I've seen my fair share of a mine in the past and I don't need to see more. But this is pretty cool. I'm gonna see if Snow White house is open to learn a little bit more about how they claim that it originated here.
Heading for collision in the night. To really live, you gotta die.
I'm in front of the Snow White house, which is closed. This says is pretty much that what happened to a lord's daughter, Margarita, came here and appears to have been poisoned. Hardworking kid who would be misnurtured and look really, really old, really, really early on because they are working hard in those mines were known as dwarfs, and these stories are supposed to have been the foundation of the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Orange glow is gone, but honestly, this still is so pretty. I finished like a river glorious, the second in the, what's the Gold Seeker or something? Well, the first one is Walk on Earth a Stranger, and I loved it. I'm just a sucker for anything 1850s US American historical fiction, if it's not too romancy. And what I like is that in this book, the relationships are not too romancy. There's still love and there's a deep connection, but it doesn't feel like it is too heavy on the romance. It just feels real and deep. And a lot of this is about friendship too. I enjoy the little bit of fantasy that's sprinkled in there. Our main character can sense gold, which is pretty convenient during the gold rush, right? I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I just enjoy myself so much immersing myself in that world, and it's just so I just enjoy it so much. So I'm giving it a definite star just for my pure enjoyment, but objectively it's well written. It is YA, but the characters are deep and I can grasp them, and they have relationships that go beyond a who will they, won't they, or something. So overall, definitely recommend it. If you enjoy yourself historical fiction with a sprinkle of fantasy. The fantasy is not too overpowering. It just feels fantastic. As you can tell, I'm speechless. For those people who ask me how I get my mail or like packages that I order on the road, well, it is time to test the Omnia oven. I bought some chicken that was half a chicken, and I've seen a video of people making chicken and it's being a very tight fit, which I expect to happen here as well. So yeah, let's see how this works. First time using it. Yes! Ooh, let's give it another minute. So I just finished Binti, the second one, which is called Home. And I love the complexity of this short story. Well, it's not a short story, it's a novella. It's like 176 pages, but it is a short story in my mind. And being able to hit on so many complex topics in such a short amount of pages is impressive. I feel like before I read the third one, I want to get a book that has all three and read them in one go. It's all only like 176 pages per book, 180 or something. So you can absolutely read it in one. And I think with this one, it's absolutely worth it to just, I listen to a lot of books on audiobook, and I listen to this on audiobook as well. And usually when I listen to something on audiobook, I do it while doing something else. So while driving, while walking. And I want to absorb every single word. I want to sit down, read it with my eyes, and just everything around me needs to stop, and I need to absorb it completely. It's fantastic. 5 out of 5 stars. Have arrived in Kassel. Behind me is yet another Brother Grimm memorial to statue kind of thing. We're on our way to the it's called the Grimm Worlds. It's another museum dedicated to the Brother Grimms. It is supposed to be open. I think the entrance fee for an adult is 10 euros. So yeah, this whole place here from the back all the way over here is also named after the brothers. So it's the Brother Grimm place or square, or however you would translate it. So let's see where the entrance to the museum is. The Brother Grimm lived in Kassel for 30 years, and there's if you come to Kassel, you should definitely take a full day and not only visit this amazing museum, which is very modern, very interactive, and tells you so much about so many different things, all fairy tale. It's absolutely freaking worth it. But there's also so many tours around the city that you can do that are fairy tale based or that are Grimm based, and we'll show you a few of the steps in their life. Not all of them are worth it with kids. Some of them are just pretty much visiting several graves of relatives of the Grimm brothers, which I don't think is necessarily worth it, but overall the city is, and definitely this museum. So if you do the fairy tale route, this is a must.
Never understood a word they said. Kept running in the woods alone instead. Somewhere, somehow, I guess I lost it all. Try to keep it up and standing tall. Why don't you stay, 'cause I could really use a friend. Stay, please stay, 'cause my heart really needs a man. Somewhere, somehow, I guess I lost it all. Stay here with me.
We're doing some spring cleaning to be ready for New Year's. Let's go.
I'm trying to make it up for my mistakes, but everywhere I turn, some hearts will break. Someone will end up getting hurt again. There's no need to play pretend. Why don't you stay, 'cause I could read.
I just finished The Mountain Sings, and I wanted to love this so bad, but the best thing about this is the cover. I think that the cover is gorgeous. We're following a family after the Vietnam War, and this is playing in Vietnam. We're following a Vietnamese family, and I was really hoping to learn a little bit more about the history, about what happened back then through this fictional story, which is most likely not all fiction, but is inspired very much so by the family history of the author, which is all fine. But for some reason, I just couldn't get into it. I had so much trouble connecting to the characters. They felt so one-dimensional. And the way that it was written just it didn't feel like somebody is telling a story. It felt more like a textbook without being a textbook and without teaching me about all these major points or all these backgrounds. It was just a very slow and boring family story. And I know that there's a big market for that, but there was just not enough depth for me. I wanted to feel and I wanted to just understand what the characters are going on a deeper level and on a more personal level. And there were bits and pieces and little moments where I felt like it was almost going there, but it didn't fully go there. And then there was something else was bothering me, and I couldn't exactly put my finger on it. I felt like there was something off with the portrayal of bad guys in this political situation here. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And after I just finished it, I went on Goodreads and looked at a couple of reviews that are a little bit more critical to see if anybody could put a finger on what I was seeing. And yes, I found somebody. Their name is Toshita, and what they write, and this is just an excerpt of their whole review, exactly tells me what I felt and what irked me. Characters who opposed the government were portrayed as intelligent and moralistic, while those who believed in communism were portrayed as ugly, stupid, and downright savages. If you want to criticize communism, that's fine, but if you're portraying poor characters as brainwashed idiots instead of acknowledging the systemic causes a communist government is at fault, or maybe that isn't really criticism. They go on saying that the author makes this argument that both sides of the war, North Vietnam versus Americans in South Vietnam, committed atrocities, which is true, but those atrocities are not created equal in reality. In fact, the author places very little blame on the Americans for what they did during the war and how that impacted Vietnamese lives for years to come. She spends much more time on the communist regime. I understand that the book takes place in Vietnam and she wants that focus there, but it isn't executed well. It comes across as Americans did bad things during the war, but Vietnamese communists are the real bad guys. Which I do think it's absolutely fine to have a political stance, to have a political position in things, but when things are so blatant, I just need to see that in the character development as well, to understand that we're following a very clearly politically nuanced family. So if we're following a very clear side, politically standing on one side of the argument, then I can understand radical thoughts or extreme thoughts. And the author needs to acknowledge those as very clearly one-sided thoughts and not make it seem as if it's two sides of a coin, because it feels like in this book the author is trying to make it out as, oh, I'm showing you both sides of the coin, but the one side is just much worse, and that's the others, and that just feels wrong to me. Again, I'm absolutely fine with having bad guys and having a clearly nuanced picture where you have a very clear position, but the author, for me, needs to acknowledge that and not try and come off as I'm showing you like an objective, neutral standpoint. And that irked me. It just irked me. I really wanted to love this, but I'm struggling right now, and I think I can only give it 2 out of 5 stars, sadly.
You got me feeling kinda crazy. You got me feeling like my head is spinning round.
It is New Year's Eve, and I have decided to drive back to my brother's house in a little moment, but not before going on a little hike. It's absolutely not happening that I'm going to finish the Fairytale route anytime soon, so I'll be stopping for now, going back home, doing some things like paperwork and stuff, things that just need to get done. And on my way back, I'm stopping at a World Heritage site, which is this Hercules up there. Amazing sight. Anyways, I'm driving back home after this to my brother's, celebrate New Year's with him, and then I'm going home to take care of a few things. And I'm still trying to finish homework today, so wish me luck.
You're around, I won't deny. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise. You're around, I won't deny. You know you make me feel so alive. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like we're in paradise, like we're in paradise. Yeah. I don't know how you do it to me, but you make me wanna fly. I'm not coming down. Maybe it's the way you move, babe, move, babe. You've got that body and that smile, make my head spin round. I'll hold you close to me. You're all I want, so stay right here with me. This feels like paradise. I wanna stay with you, never say goodbye. It's like
We're going to try and bake some bread.